Multi-day tours can be planned very easily with Garmin Base Camp. You don't have to go to the trouble of designing every single stage. With the divide tool, routes can be divided into many parts. Today we want to use this tool to turn the route planned in the last tutorial into a multi-day tour. Hello, I'm Thomas, your outdoor tech instructor. In my channel I'll explain how to use apps and devices related to outdoor and fitness. Are you ready? Then let's get started. At the beginning of every Garmin BaseCamp tutorial, I activate the required tools. I activate the detail level, edit, map products, map tools and edit features by right-clicking the file bar. This time we don't need the drawing tools, the route is already completely planned. I use the map of Scandinavia again for the display. I set the detail level to higher. If your map resolves too slowly, I recommend a lower detail level. Now I need a list in which the route is to be cut. I have already created a new list. You can see how to create a list in the video in the top right hand corner. You can also find the link to tutorial number 1 here in the video description. For this exercise we will use a new tool that I would like to introduce to you first. The tool is called Divide and can be found as scissors in the edit features. With the Divide tool you can split routes easily and quickly. You can delete separated sections of a route or edit and use them separately from the original route. We use this feature today for planning multi-day tours. You don't have to deal with the stages during planning yet and can concentrate entirely on the route. I recommend that you first make a copy of the route as a backup before editing the route. To be able to split a route at all, it must run through at least 3 waypoints. Waypoints between the start and the end of the route are used as new start or end points depending on the cut in the partial sections. The cut is made behind a waypoint within the route. Select the Divide tool and move the cursor on the route behind the waypoint where you want to cut. The part of the route to be cut turns dark. If the color of your route is black, the part behind the cut is shown thicker. During the cut, BaseCamp asks you whether the waypoint before the cut should serve as the end or start point for both paths. If you answer no, a copy of this waypoint will be created for this section behind. The stages created by the cut are renamed by BaseCamp. I recommend that you give them preceding sequential numbers. This makes it easier to keep track of them. If the expected number of the stages is higher than 9, put a 0 in front of each number. I start by backing up my original route. To do this, I right-click on the route in a list and select Duplicate. I do not duplicate the waypoints. I move the copy of the route to my planning list. BaseCamp automatically shows all the waypoints used in the new list. I delete the link to the route in the original list. Here is a tip from me. If you have planned a route with a lot of waypoints, the overview can get lost. Use the filter for the list at the bottom. Here you can filter the display of the content. I only display routes. This hides all other content in the active list. I set the sorting in the list. Here you can sort by a symbol or name in ascending or descending order. I double-click on the tool to get an overview of the distance. Behind each waypoint I find the distance to the previous waypoint and the estimated time I need for this section. The latter is determined by the activity profile. Once I have identified my destination for the day, I check whether it is also suitable for an overnight stay. I double-click on the waypoint in the tour. The map centers on this point. Double-clicking on the symbol in the map opens the waypoint. In the categories, I can now check whether the waypoint falls into the camping category. I assigned the categories in tutorial number 4. I can also use the search features for this. I double-click the waypoint so the map centers on it. Then I enter my category in the search box, in this case camping. If the waypoint falls into the category, there is a 0 after the search result. This is not the case for my current destination. I still need an overnight stay. There is a campsite among my waypoint only 2 kilometers away. I use it and add it to the route first. I open my copy of the route and mark the waypoint after my destination for the day and right-click on the campsite. There I select Add to Route. I close the route interface and the search result. For a better overview, I select a higher zoom level and center the map over the campsite. Now I want to make the first cut. I activate the route and select the Divide tool. I move the cursor to the route behind the campsite and it turns dark. I click to execute the cut. I answer the question with yes. A look at the list on the left shows me that I now have 2 tours. The first section keeps the name of the original tour. The rest is named with the names of the waypoints at the start and finish. I give the first stage a new name and copy it. To improve the visibility of the stages, I change the color of the first stage. Tip: you can edit the created stage at any time, remove destination or add new ones. If you are doing a multi-day tour, make sure that if you change the start of the stage or the destination of the day, you also change this in a previous or following stage. If you work with waypoints, this is very easy. I continue my planning for the second stage. The next day's destination has already been found. Again, I check whether I can spend the night here. This time, the day's destination can also be found in the camping category and I can cut directly behind the day's destination. I now activate the remaining part of my route, click on the Divide tool and cut behind the overnight stay. Now, both parts of the route have been given new names. I rename stage 2. I still have the name of the first stage in the clipboard. I now insert this and only change the number of the stage and then the color. I now fly through the next stages with you and re-enter at the end of the planning. With the last cut, I create the final stage. I have now made 13 stages out of a 3,800 kilometer tour. I use different colors for the overview in the map. Now I want to use the routes as well. Either I export the list, then I get a file with all tours. The same happens if I select all or some of the tours and export the selection. The export contains a file with the selected tours. If I select a single file, I get a GPS file with this stage. If I connect a Garmin device, I can also transfer the planet routes to my Garmin device. This should support the activity in the planet routes to enable sensible routing. The export and import of files within Garmin BaseCamp will also be the subject of my next Garmin BaseCamp tutorial. You can find the complete step-by-step tutorials of Garmin BaseCamp in the playlist at the top left. I explain Google My Maps in the playlist on the bottom left. I'm always happy about your comments and a thumbs up. I'm Thomas, your auto tech instructor. See you next time.